very much, Miles. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, so what this webinar that is going to be on disruptive recruiting strategies that we also have a playbook to give you is basically hosted by MAPS, which is why Miles was here, and it's in a promotion for our Rockstar Recruiting, our new Rockstar Recruiting program we're launching in a month in September 21st, with incredible new content that we'll talk a little bit about towards the end. But there's the QR code, there's some information. It's a great program to dovetail right into after the recruiting boot camp that KWRI puts on in Austin. We've coordinated with them with this material and the workbook to be like the second phase of that. So take a screenshot of that so that you'll have that information, but that's what that is all about. So with that, Jessica, let's start at the beginning here. So the topic today, disruptive recruiting strategies. So as we get into this, Jessica, let's talk about the opportunity right now that we have with basically 4 months left in the year.
Well, and the truth is, we have a playbook that we'll bring up so you can see this and follow along. If you guys want to download this for yourself, Sheila, our cyberbacker, will put a QR code so you can just have this for yourselves. But we document how you can prove to yourself the opportunity you actually do have. Keller Williams is putting together such cool technology for you guys with the heat seeker to give you analytics to predict who might be making a move. And yet when you look in the playbook, you'll see that we show you how to use an agent movement report just to show and prove to yourself who already has made a move. Now, in our playbook, are we screen sharing that now, Rich?
Yep. Can you guys see it?
I don't see it. Everyone else see it? Do we have thumbs up? Do you guys see it? Okay, we can see it now. Great. In this playbook at the bottom, you'll see that's an agent movement report. For those of you familiar with broker metrics, it's a really killer report that shows you what happened. So the heat seeker shows you and predicts what might be happening. And then the agent movement report shows you what happened. And this is a snapshot of Clearwater, Florida market. It's a large market, but in the last 90 days, you'll see at the bottom, 556 agents either left EXP or joined EXP in the last 90 days alone. Now, I bring that up just to show you opportunity. That means that 556 recruiting appointments had to happen, conversations had to happen for those agents to leave one brokerage to go to another. And that's just one brokerage we're looking at. I'm not picking on EXP by any means, but that's just one large brokerage that you can see in 90 days how much movement's happening. And that's much more than we've ever seen. So above that, you'll see some of the reasons why agents move, and yet there's a lot of them. The point though is, Rich, people don't stay where they're struggling, do they?
Nope. And so why don't you put in the chat, everybody, if you know where to find the agent movement report, if you know where that is in broker metrics, if you know how to really access this data to see, you know, who's moving and find that data. So put in the chat, because that's an important piece. If you don't know where to get this information, then that's, you know, kind of a challenge.
Well, so, and told if you're not feeling it right now as a team leader because your licensing list is shrinking and you're worried and you're struggling a little here, you can really let your mojo kind of mess with your mindset. And then when you look at a report like this, you realize, oh my gosh, if I would have gotten an at bat with at least 10% of those people, look at how many appointments that would have been. That would have been 56 appointments. That's insanity, isn't it? So it's a lot of opportunity for you right now. So first things first is, Rich and I want to wake you up to your opportunity, because when agents struggle, when markets get tough, agents make moves, and we're going to see it all around us in the coming months. So that's
in the seasonality, guys, depending on how long you've been in the business and on the recruiting side of it, the seasonality always is in the fourth and first quarters when agents move, typically, right? The masses. So we have the shifting market, as we all know. A lot of agents were kind of paralyzed with fear, thought that things were going to shift back, thought interest rates were going to drop, the market was going to recover quickly. because remember, 80% of them have never been through a shift. They haven't been in the business for 13, 14 years. So they don't know what to expect. They thought that things were just going to rebound quickly. Now, all of a sudden, kids are back in school, summer's over. They spent a lot of their money on vacations. They're turning around and looking in the mirror and saying, I don't have pipeline. I don't have business. What am I going to do? I'm starting just to see that this market's not changing anytime soon. So what do I do? And that's, a great opportunity, for us as recruiters. So you want to really look at how do you take advantage of that? And the data is important. Heat seeker, right? And then knowing where the agent movement report is and who your targets are going to be critically important. You guys can see whose business is up or down. I mean, at the end of the day, if the industry, if you look at the KWI numbers, which you sell one out of every 5 homes, so we're a pretty good snapshot of the industry, right? If our business, our closings are down, 30, 35%, that the average agent is down the same, 35, 40%. So the odds are when you're contacting somebody, they're struggling.
Well, and here's the thing, this market's helping you. So this is going to be a fun next year for team leaders, because when the business is easy and agents are making money left and over, just easy peasy, they don't want to talk to us. They don't want to be recruited. They don't want to disrupt what's going on. They stay. So this is, again, great movement. And the mindset I'd love to have you guys adopt is, on page 4 of our book, we talk about what if like half of your MLS interviewed this year, just to see what their options were. How many of those folks are you getting in front of? And, none of us are perfect. And yet, even if you were the most perfect team leader with the most purposeful calendar, and you had 10 new R2 recruiting appointments every week, you're still only getting in front of about 50 of them. And you all have more than that. So some of the things we want to share with you today are disruptive that you can get your whole team involved in, not only your leadership team, but your agents. And so the first strategy we want to share with you is to get you the mindset about what if you could just get an offer in front of everyone, assuming half of everyone was going to interview. What would that need to look like? Because you guys, you're not going to do it how you're doing it now. It's impossible. So I don't want you to think we want you to do more. We want you to do different, disruption. And so one of the examples we have in the book, if you look back at the book that we're screen sharing, at the bottom is, how could you be disruptive? And what if you were able, in a TCP friendly way, of course, to communicate with everyone in the MLS with an offer? So we give you an example on the bottom of page 4 of one that's working really well. So I'm going to give a shout out to one of my awesome clients, Boise, Idaho. They were struggling. They hit a wall with appointments, as we all do from time to time. And Brian set 22 appointments with that call. So in one day. So I want you to know, you have great opportunity, and yet how could you empower yourself and everyone around you to give some sort of offer to everyone in the MLS? What would that look like? Just so that if they are going to interview, they think of you as well. It's really like farming, isn't it, Rich? It really is. It's like an agent farming.
This text right here, right? So this is a text blast, right? To get it to everybody. And you can see, hey, Bob, with the uncertainty in the market ahead, would you be open to a confidential conversation about opportunities in real estate that I'm hiring for? Right? And then your name. So,
Rich, can you zoom in on that a little bit more on yours? Just page down and zoom in so they can see it a little bit more.
Yeah, let me see if I can get that done.
And honestly, you guys can go get the book. You know what, Sheila, put the QR code. I'll put the link right now if you guys want it, just so you have it. But perfect. So now we can see it much better. And yet, that's just the mindset we want to give you guys, because it's opportunity time. And this isn't about being perfect or more, giving more. You guys already give a lot, but how could you do things differently so you could cast a net to get all those at-bats that you might just be missing out on? Because it's a lot of opportunity. It's a unique time.
Yeah. So what are the mofers? What are the things that are going to create curiosity? What do agents want right now? They want leads. They want listings, right? They're looking for business. So what are your mofers? I just got off a call with one of my coaching clients, right? Eddie Donnelly, right? They're out of Ohio, one of the top $1 million market centers. And their productivity coaching program produced 330 transactions in the last 12 months. So we put together a conversation, right, which turned it into a text as well, because he needs to hire 8 more people in 8 days to hit his goal for the month, right? Is, hey, have you heard about our productivity coaching program? Do you know that our agents have closed 330 transactions in the last 12 months in this program, right? So that's benefit evidence. That's using something that you have that agents are winning with to give agents hope, because everybody has hope. We want to have hope that we're going to be able to succeed in this business and in this market. So what are your mofers, right? What do you have? What are you doing? Is it Team Ridge, right? Is it coaching? What is it that you have that people are winning with right now that you can create curiosity around?
And you have to remember that people aren't going to ask to meet with you. You need to ask them to meet with you. So if you're not getting in front of them, again, what would be an approach? What would be a text? What would be your offer? These are all winning in the market right now. If we switch gears, you are only one soul, one person. One person can only do so much. This is where Mark King comes up and says, hey, we need to stop recruiting around our people. Let's recruit through them. And so what I would challenge you guys all to do is have this little pep talk Rich and I are having with you to remind them of the opportunity they have right now as well. Because if I've been an agent of yours, say for 10 years, I'm a really loyal person, I go to a lot of your events, but I haven't done much for profit share, I'm not going to do much for you in the future if you don't have a conversation with me about this opportunity. I might not really be aware of it. I might just be worried about my own business or my own issues and my own challenges of life. And yet I may be one of those agents that sure wishes they had a nice pet profit share check every month. Knowing that this is that moment is now the time to tap them on the shoulder, remind them, and share with them how to get engaged with you. So flipping gears from you, how do you get disruptive with your people? Here are just some notes for you to think about and ask yourself, and an actual strategy you could give your agents that are interested to really help you out in this market ahead.
So who are your best sources, right? Your ALC, your top 20%, right? So how can you leverage them? Because again, like Jessica mentioned, these agents are going to interview anyways. So we're just casting a net and creating leverage through all of your people, right, to help you get in front of as many people to cast the biggest net that you possibly can cast over the next 4 months. So
now, yeah, with that though, I'll tell you, they don't know how. We want them to, but they don't know how, or they don't do it well. And so you have to give them almost like, remember when we all got Bet On, for those of us that were team leaders during Bet On Red, you know how they gave us Bet On Red? They gave us an infographic with like specifically the words to say so that we didn't overthink it and we would just post and share information. That's the same thinking I'd have for your agent leadership council, your agents that have recently joined you, the agents that are interested in participating in profit share. They want to, they just don't know how to start that conversation, or they actually steal the appointment by having it without you. So I want you to remember, if you teach them and bring them in with you, you can win with referrals in a big way. And yet if you're not getting them, there's some misconnect in this whole process. And it might be a disconnect with them having confidence in, what do I say? So in this example, we're teaching how an agent might invite someone to an event. And if we leave it to an agent, they might send a text that sounds quite recruity, like, you know, come to the top agent panel and yada, yada, yada. And yet we got to remind them that they're just people talking to people. So I'm going to challenge you, if you want people to refer you, just like we would if we were an agent, we would give them some coaching around that. And this is the same. So again, it's not like you need them to do the appointment. You just need them to get the conversation started.
Yep. And this text right here, hey, Bob, there's a group of top agents getting together Thursday at 2 o'clock to strategize around the market changes. Do you want to join us? That simple. Right? So you can get your agents, your ALC, your top 20% to send out this text. You have the list of the people, right? We just need them to send out this text. There you go. That's how you create that leverage.
Okay, so next is we want to shift gears and see where you might be missing a little opportunity. And yet I want you to know that there's a system tied to every one of these lead sources. So Rich, talk to us about what this exercise is all about.
Yeah, so rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And this is what's interesting about this is that KWRI, right? If you remember the contest they had last year, they started tracking all of the data for the last over 18 months since it was last year till to now, the sources of the hires at Keller Williams. And what they found is 80% of the hires in our company came from these top 4 categories. Number 1, ALC referrals. So scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself at your ability to get ALC referrals and how often are you getting them? Number 2, referrals from your agents, right? One of the things I was just mentioning to this client I was telling you about right before this call is, hey, you know, it's not just about asking for referrals from our ALC because 98% of the people on your roster are not on your ALC. So let's not forget about them. So how are you engaging them? And then vendors and affiliates. These are the people that are in all your competitors' offices and are also in yours and want to get business from you. So leverage them. Ask them, what are they hearing? Who's had management changes, policy changes? Who's disgruntled? Who could use, you know, some great education and coaching in their business and benefit from these tools? And then the recent hires, leveraging your hire. One of the things that we teach in the Rockstar recruiting program is that you can turn 1 hire into 3 hires when you follow a 12-step program. So it's just like an agent that takes a new listing. How does an agent turn that into multiple pieces of business, right? It's more than just putting it into MLS, as you know. If they do a lot of different things, they can create a lot of business off of leveraging that listing. We do the same thing in recruiting through leveraging your hire. That's where 80% of the hires are coming from in Keller Williams is ALC agents, affiliates, and leveraging your current hires.
So let's just stop there for 1 second, because you and I both have plenty of coaching experiences where a team leader will tell us they're not getting referrals. And so some of the things that we're going to dive into in Rockstar recruiting are those types of situations like, well, I'm not getting them. And they signed the covenant and we're not getting them. And a lot of it is to be honest with you, systems and how you ask and having strategy around it. So those are some of the things we're going to dive into. A great quick thing to add for you guys, for you to think about is how you ask. And it's not like, hey, you signed this and you agreed, where are my appointments? It's, hey, what do you guys think about who you did transactions with, you know, showings, set of showings, talk to about listings. Who did you interact with in the last month or so since our last ALC meeting that needs some training? Who comes to mind? That's how you ask. Hey guys, we've got lots of movement with agents moving right now because the market's getting tough. And you know what happens when the market gets tough? Agents make moves. So I'm curious from each of you, all of my ALC, I want you to just take 5 minutes. I want you to write down everybody's name that you would assume would name you as sponsor. Because if I have movement with them, I want to include you in the conversation. Who comes to mind that you'd actually be irritated about if they didn't name you? Who is that? Who are your guys? Again, that's a different way of asking you guys, but that's where they like, oh, this person, this person, this person. And then you can get into a relationship where you tag team that connection and the invitations and getting them to come to family reunion and all those other things that you do. You can kind of identify who has who as a friend or acquaintance. And again, those are little strategies, but those are the strategies that work best.
Yep. And another quick one, and then we'll move on because I know we're getting tight on time, is take a list into your ALC meeting of your hit list, the people that you want, the top 20%, heck, even the heat seeker list, right? And ask them who they know on this list that we should be in business with, right? And that gets their brain working. The script on the other, or the conversation, I should say, on the other page is, about productivity coaching. We talked about the one earlier, but we can also just look at something like this: benefit evidence. Have you heard about our productivity coaching program? Do you know that Sally Smith has had 4 transactions in the last 30 days, utilizing this program? When can we get together for 45 minutes for a business consultation? I'll share with these tactics that are working right here locally. So again, benefit evidence. We got to give people hope. And then, one of the other big things to really understand and master that we go through in the Rockstar Recruiting Program is the 4 quadrants and the needs analysis. What do you do once you get in front of them, right? It's not about telling and selling. It's about setting them up and understanding what their needs are, establishing the gap so that we can bridge the gap with our benefits and tools and value propositions like the MREA. In fact, Jessica and I are going to be doing another free webinar here in about 3 weeks that is going to be how to practically recruit with the heat seeker information and the MREA model. How do you do that? How do you consult somebody through the MREA and show them how they can make more money, because the metrics is all laid out for you, right? And we're going to be doing that in a few weeks, and you'll get more information. But these are the kind of things that we are doing in the Rockstar Recruiting program. And here's that information. If you want to check it out, you can see some of the topics we go through. This is really about real play and role play that we take you through live conversations. There's a lot of Q&A, and there's incredible content that we're going through in each of these 12 sessions. We do a deep dive into all these different topics, from, what's the system to be a masterful recruiter? You got to have a system, just like top agents do. What are the specific sources and strategies? How do you get appointments? Again, the needs analysis, and what do you do when they're in front of you? What are the value propositions, and how do you present them in a way that you're not telling and selling? How do you close? Objection handlers, lead follow-up, which is where 80% of the people join. And then, like we talked about, leveraging those hires and building your recruiting team and creating leverage for yourself. We're also working with expansion teams and big teams and helping them recruit. So if you have people in your market center that want to add people to their teams, this is a great program for them as well. We take you through a lot of the recruiting hacks, broker metrics as well. We talk about how to spend your time. That's the biggest challenge as leaders we have, is time management, right? Understanding your numbers, and the playbooks, how to really leverage the playbooks to your advantage as recruiting presentation sources and curiosity creators to get appointments.
And through those 12 weeks, our goal is to give you enough to implement, to have that piece of the puzzle put in place. So this is something that you could include ATL, PC, other people helping you, recruiting team, and there's huge discounts for the second, third, other people that you have joining, because we want to help you put the foundation in place. We know that offices that have a strong foundation with their recruiting systems and a team leader that has swagger and confidence with these more technical elements dominate. And we want to put both pieces together for that during these 12 weeks. We also are going to have a couple pop-up classes where we're just going to practice in front of you to help you all gain confidence. So if you learn by watching, there's going to be a lot of that in this class.
Yep. And again, this is an extension from the recruiting boot camp that they're doing at KWRI. So really take a look at this. What questions do you have? You can come off mute, put the questions in the chat. We want to make sure that we respect your time. Anybody have any questions, comments that you'd like to share? I see the chat.
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
On your the page that you guys just did, the one with the QR code for the master recruiters, is there a set time and date that will be, so that I can possibly pre-mark it on my calendar before my days get crazy busy? Because that, the perfect team leader schedule. When do we put this in there?
Yes. Starts on Thursday, September 21st.
Okay.
And it is going to be at 12 o'clock Central Time, and it's an hour.
And I'm gonna put all the dates in the chat right now.
Yep.
You got them?
Yep, 12 sessions.
Yep. And you know what? This is about giving you every unfair advantage we can, you guys. Rich and I are blessed to have so many awesome clients. We can tell you what's working, what's happening today, what kind of intel can we give you? Because we're actively coaching close to 100 people that are in your world. So we know what you're going through. We're in the trenches with you, and we're excited to help you.
Awesome. Just looking through the chat. Any other questions that you have before we wrap up? Well, thank you
Rich,
so much.
I have just one quick question.
Yes.
Today, we had that heat seeker call also at 2 o'clock. So I was torn on, do I do this or do that? So you said you're going to do this again. Is it next week?
In 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
We're gonna
A
change
different
our
time.
time because we found out about that at the same time you did and realized we had a conflict. So Tim, our next session will not be competing.
Oh, perfect. That was my only question. I wanted to be on that one too, but Rich and Jessica, I didn't want to miss yours either.
Well,
thank
we
you.
appreciate you guys. We're here for you. We love our team leaders. Any way we can help, reach out to us.
Thanks for being here, guys. Take care.